Hey guys, Chris3 here, and welcome to the race 12 of 22 in first season of Feeling Racing League. This time we're going to head to Russia and Sochi Autodrome. A boring circuit in real life, however, in the game it's a pretty enjoyable one, and I feel really comfortable around there. So let's see how it goes during qualifying and the race. As we're here in the pit garage in the Sochi Autodrome circuit built around the 2014 Olympics park. We're going to go next to many ventures that featured in the Winter Olympics, which is the Winter Olympic Stadium, which also the World Cup was played on, the famous ice rink as well. Yeah, overall the track is boring in real life. However, on the game, it's really simple one, really enjoyable to drive. Not many places to make a mistake, as there's a lot of runoff areas, and even the biggest of mistakes will probably not end in the wall. They're pretty far, as they're pretty far away. Yeah, so a lot of 90-degree corners. I think again strategy a pretty simple one around here. One stop, as the tarmac is not the most abrasive, as it is a road around the Olympic Park, which was built purposefully for the 2014 Winter Olympics. As you can see, we finished our first lap in P1, going fastest of all. We're doing full qualifying here today, so there might be some play with strategy in Q2. However, I don't think I would expect anything much as we end Q1 here in P2, 2/10 behind the Aston Martin. This is going to be a theme. We're going to be close towards the top of the table. As, like I said, I feel really comfortable around this track. It's a track I like. It's a very simple one. It's a good one for the controller as well. So we should aim for a good result here today. Hopefully not many mistakes and not many safety cars, although you can always expect a good bunch of safety cars in these league races. As you can see, we're going to leave the garage for the second time now in Q2. Again, soft tires. Like I said, there won't be much strategy play as there is a one stop from soft to mediums and a 50% race. We're going to have a few safety cars, so I don't think we are needing a medium run in here. As you can see in the tables, one person has already tried the mediums, as we're going to let someone by, I think. But we're going to skip through towards the end of our lap, which again, pretty clean one. Like I said, not many places to make mistakes. 90-degree corners, most of them in fourth gear. Nothing too difficult. And we're going to finish across the line 31-7. I think that's a decent lap, as we had a Alpha Tauri retiring, and on the bottom of the screen he's one of the fastest guys in the league, so that's one big rival gone. Now we're topping the timetables just ahead of the Aston Martin, 400th of a second ahead of him. Decent result, but all the important ones are going to be in Q3, and that's right now as you join me again just at the beginning of Q3 in a beautiful morning sunrise session around the Sochi Autodrome. We're going to go out straight away, get 2 runs in this session. Hopefully the first one won't end up in losing the front wing, so we head out saving fuel, saving ARS to have enough for the lap, and then to come back to the pits. It's important to save up the ARS on the first lap. You don't want to start the lap with less battery than the other competitors, as you're going to join me in the last 2 corners. And we're going to cross the line to begin our first lap in Q3. And we approached a pretty much non-existent turn 1, flat out kink in the middle of the 2 straights. then turn 1 and turn 2 and 3 before the long turn 8 style from Turkey, turn 4. It's a very enjoyable corner in qualifying. In the race, it might cause a little bit of problems, especially on used tires and heavy fuel. We're going to see how that works out. Again, using the track limits to gain the most amount of time possible, riding those curbs on the outside to gain so little amounts of time, which can help us stick in a pole position. Now, sun in our face, not the easiest braking zone for this corner. Don't go too wide, and that's exactly what we do. As there is an Alpine spun the other way in the shadow of the ice rink. That could have ended in a horrible crash. Fortunately, we avoided him, and we're going to head into sector 3 with setting a purple lap time as we go a little bit too wide there at the end of the straight. I think that's turn 13, a very difficult corner, actually a sequence of corners, slightly downhill, offset the braking, and we're going to head into the last 2 corners now. Again, 90-degree corners, 3rd, 4th gear at max, and then use the track limits at the exit, and it's a 31.4. Decent lap times, putting us fastest of all right now, and we have my teammate in 2nd. And we're going to skip towards the end of the session to go out for the final lap in Q3. Hopefully we can stick it on pole position and have a good race from there. It's always better to start at the front than in the middle of the pack to avoid any chaos that might happen in the middle, as that's where mostly it occurs. Yeah, again, we head out through this pretty tight pit exit. It's flat out though, so no big issues. Just an important thing during the race, don't lose your front wing while coming out. And now 1 minute 28 remaining, and we're going through the last 2 corners, going out for a final lap around the Sochi Autodrome here, fighting for pole position. Right now we are a provisional pole with a time of 31.4, and we head to turn 2 for his braking zone. Pretty far away from the starting line, but that's going to be a bigger issue tomorrow as we abuse the track limits there. That's what the regular track limits allow, and I've taken full advantage of that. And we gain a little bit of time, not too much, and now we head into the heart of sector 2, and now 10th up already, a purple sector in the first one. Again, trying to use the most of the track possible. That's what regular track limits allow. Again, use a little bit of the AstroTurf on the exit now. Throw the car in through here. You really need to trust your car and trust your driving skills through there. And now 0.3 of a second up on our previous lap time, even 0.4. I don't know where I'm finding this time, as their laps look pretty much identical. But now we head through this curved straight, DRS straight, and now turn 13. Now a little bit better, don't go too deep, and we head up the hill into the last 2 sequences of corners. 2nd gear, and now hooks it up and goes to the straight. Almost 0.5, half a second gain, 0.6 now. Don't know where I found this time, but triple purple, 6.5 gained, a 30.8 lap time. Absolutely great. Only 5 people managed to finish a lap in here. No, 6 people finished a lap during Q3. Extraordinary session, but we put it on pole by 0.8 of a second, and we're going to see how it all plays out in the race.
Welcome to the Black Sea Resort of Sochi, host to Russia's first ever Formula One race. The drivers are getting ready, so let's join them for the start of the Russian Grand Prix. It's full throttle for around 56% of the lap here at the Sochi Autodrome, a 3.6-mile run around the site of the 2014 Winter Olympics. 12 right turns and 6 left turns give us a total count of 18, with passing opportunities available into turns 1 and 13.
Okay, so we're now on the grid for the Russian Grand Prix. Like I said, simple strategy. However, one thing I have to tell you here is that, as you can see, the tires are fresh, and that's exactly what happened with this lobby. In the previous start, the first start, we managed to deploy the fastest safety car in the world. As the lights went off, the safety car was deployed. There was some issue with the lobby later, and we had to restart. Of course, I'm choosing the same strategy that I qualified on, so soft tires. I'm going to have an advantage over my teammate in third and my biggest championship rival in second, as they're starting on the mediums. Of course, towards the latter stages of this stint, they should be faster, but for now we should focus on pulling away. And another problem that we probably will have is the lack of setup, but I'm going to talk about that later as the grid reforms on the race start grid. And we're going to go to the 5 red lights soon. Yep, the green flag is shown. And we should get, yes, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And away we go. And that's a pretty good start, as the Alfa Romeo doesn't get away, as we have a first retirement already, and it's a virtual safety car on the main straight. Okay, it's not a good start, as we have another, and now we flip to a full safety car. And now it's going to be all funny, as we get a 5-second penalty for collision with the Alfa Romeo. I don't know even when that happened. I think he must have run into the back of me when I was trying to slow down for the Delta, and he has hit me, which gave me a 5-second penalty. That's really unfortunate. And we're going to head to the restart. First safety car restart already on lap 4. Let's see, the tires are a little bit cool, but not too bad, as we decide to boot it a little bit early, and we drop the Alfa Romeo very nicely on the restart, as I think his tires were even colder than mine, as his compound is a little bit harder and it's way more difficult to get temperature into them. Thankfully it's not the hards, which are even worse. Yeah, but we managed to pull away by about 8 tenths just on that restart. Now hopefully we can pull away. As you can see, I'm understeering wide because I didn't have the time to put on the setup. I forgot, we started the race pretty much right after everyone joined, so we didn't. My head just went somewhere, and I didn't put on the setup, which is really unfortunate. But now we get another second safety car in the day. We're not gonna have much racing time, I guess, in this first stage of the race, which is good for my tires. That preserves my tires, as the pit stop window is around lap 10, lap 11. So that helps me go a little bit longer in this race. And again, we join back on the restart. Again, we get a second 5-second penalty. This is ridiculous. The Alfa Romeo was just running into our back for the second time, giving us a 10-second penalty, which unfortunately we're going to have to serve on during the next pit stop, which might hinder us a bit. But now it's lap 8. We're again putting it a little bit early to drop the Alfa Romeo behind, and it's exactly what we do. Again, drifting on the exit of the last corner, but I think he had even bigger issues behind. But we drop him by 1.1 seconds. As you can see, my tires are ice cold, pretty much 84 degrees. It's not the temperature you want to have those softs in. Yeah, but we're going to try and pull away again, as the Alfa Romeo makes a big mistake into turn 2 and gets overtaken by the Mercedes, which makes my job even easier. Now we join back on lap 10. The situation pretty much unchanged, but we have an Alfa Tauri retiring, and yellow flags behind as well. Let's see what it's going to be. Is it going to be a safety car? Yes, it's another safety car in this race. Third safety car in the span of 10 laps. But it's the perfect timing for us, as this is pretty much as my pit stop window was about to happen originally. So we get pretty much a free pit stop, except that 5-second penalty which we got from the Alfa Romeo behind. Yeah, so we're going to box in straight away for new medium tires on which we're going to finish the race. And hopefully we're not going to have big issues getting that 5 second penalty, getting rid of the 5 second penalty which we're going to have after this pit stop. The Alfa Romeo of course stays on track as he's on a different strategy to us. He's going to be at a disadvantage as we all join back behind him. Let's see in what position we're going to come back onto the track. Like I said, they have to wait 5 seconds thanks to the Alfa Romeo who crashed into us. And we switch the tires and go out. Still, we haven't been overtaken by anyone, so I think the guys behind are also serving penalties. And we're going to get out on track in 4th, so we haven't lost much. The only loser in this situation, I think, is the Alfa Romeo, who will box later and is only 3 cars ahead of us. We have a guy on the hards in the Formula McLaren, and we have another medium runner in the Alpine. So they're going longer in this race, but they're at a disadvantage now as we have fresher tires and we have a pit stop done. They have to still box, which is around 24 seconds around Sochi, which is really putting me at a disadvantage here, unless there's another safety car coming out later. But we're going to get past the Alpine pretty quickly as his tires are pretty used at this point. Lap 13, he's been on these tires since the beginning, so we get past him really easily. Now, time to get our head down and chase after the McLaren and the Alfa Romeo, which I don't think should take that long, as we should have a good tire advantage over both of these guys. And exactly what we do in the later stage of lap 13. The McLaren's really struggling to get the temperature into those cars. Also, the time of the day does not help him as I juke him slightly and he goes really wide into that corner and we overtake him really nicely. Pretty much handed that position for free to me, and we have my biggest championship rival right ahead. Let's see how quickly we should catch back. Of course, I don't know if he has this setup on. If he does, he should be pulling away slightly because running the default setup is a big disadvantage. So let's see, but we gain a lot of time here. I think he made a mistake here as we're already within the 1 second needed to get the DRS. Of course, we don't have DRS yet as we need to wait for the next 2 laps after the safety car. But we gain back a lot in these corners. I don't think he has the setup on. That's the thing. He might be in the same boat as we do. We just have way more confidence in the car. Also, his tires are way more tired than mine. We're right after a pit stop and he is about to pit in the next few laps. So will he fight this for a long time as we enter lap 14 now? He goes really tight on the line. I'm going a little bit wider to get away from the dirty area, but he cuts back to the outside. I don't think he wanted to do that, as the fastest line is on the inside, as he blocks us on the apex pretty much. Look how much more speed we have through that corner as he goes really wide offline. And let's see how well we can keep behind in this twisty part of the track where overtaking is pretty much impossible, but we gain so much on these exits. He's really struggling defending now, which will help us to switch back. And let's see, he's defending again. That gives us a way better exit of the corner, using a little bit more ERS to try and get ahead, but he uses even more to try and stay ahead of us here. He's going to the inside. I'm going to cut around the outside, trying to cut back early. He goes too wide. Let's see now. He forces me a little bit to the outside and leave him room to do that. Now, can I launch down the inside? No, as he cuts really aggressively. And let's see, he goes a little bit too deep into the corner though, and we are clear of him. And he jumps into the pit lane right after that beautiful fight we had. Trying to switch him back like 3 times on this lap. At the end, we managed. And now we need to clear the 5 seconds from the Aston Martin ahead. Aston Martin behind, who was really quick in qualifying as well. He was the guy that topped Q1 and then was just behind us in Q2. So let's see how this whole situation unveils as we are a lap later, lap 16. We set a purple lap time, but the Aston Martin behind is really quick. I think he has a setup on, and he is really reeling us in now, as we are 4/10 now. Lap 21, a few laps later, he really gained back to me for the last 5-6 laps. He was really pushing, and the last 2 laps we had him in our DRS. We were defended really nicely, but now let's see how much time he can gain on the next straight, and is he going to go for a move, as he's around 6/10 behind, so he might not be close enough to overtake us on this straight. But on the start finish he might be, depends how well he does through the next 5 corners here. Let's see, we're obviously way more understeery than this guy. With his setup on, I'm at a disadvantage, of course, for my own mistakes, so I can't blame anyone. But now we gain a little bit through the dirty air. Of course, the dirty air on this car is really bad, and he's probably going to feel that in the faster bits of the track and all the corners that this car doesn't want to turn in at all. And he overtakes us. I'm not fighting it too much though, because I know that I can keep behind him at least close enough to re-overtake him on the next straight, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Of course, I'm going to be in the dirty air in the corners, but on the straight we should get the benefit of the DRS. If we don't overtake him, we're going to get close enough and overtake him on the start-finish straight. Again, you can see the light on his back. He's trying to push away. As the light is bleeping, he is gaining back the battery, but you can see it's not bleeding for the most part of the corner, so he's using his ERS to gain a little bit of time from us, but we are within 4/10. We haven't, that's what I said, we haven't lost much to him. I'm still feeling pretty quick in the car, so we have the DRS, and he is saving his battery through all of this straight. We just swim past around the outside. He's trying to look for a move back, but he just doesn't have the speed, as I suspect his ERS is below the magical 10%, which limits your power on the engine, and that really helped us especially at the end of the straight, as we still have enough ERS to attack and defend. And so we're going to head for the main straight again. It's a big opportunity for him, as he should be close enough. Again, I'm not deploying ERS, as I know that he will just pass me easily, and as he should do that right now. Let him go on the outside. He should be clearly passed, and that's exactly what happens. Now watch our braking zone. Don't hit him, and do exactly the same thing like we did on the previous lap. Again, within 4/10 of a second, as he goes a little bit wide, but that will gain him a bit of time. Let's see, I don't use the ERSs again, but he is saving it at the end of the straight. Look how quickly we're closing in. Go down the inside, get to the apex first. He's trying to launch back, but he's going to hit our rear tire and spin out into that corner. Yes, he spun as the yellow flags were out. That might help us a bit to gain back the 5 seconds. But it might not, as right now he's around 3.6 seconds behind us. Let's see, will he catch back again, or might he have any damage? No, because he didn't box as he had the chance to. Let's see, 3.7 seconds behind. Will he gain that back in the last 3 laps? And the answer is no. He gains back a little bit. He gains back around a second, but that's not enough to overtake us. And we still win on paper. We win on track. However, the 5-second penalty we incurred from the incident with the Alfa Romeo means we're going to drop back behind the Aston Martin, unfortunately. And another thing that is unfortunate, normally we would get this penalty deleted, which would put us in P1. However, the lobby had a glitch again, where the podium celebrations have not popped up and the final tables were not accessible. So here you have the evidence of what's happened. The Aston Martin finishes ahead of us, starting 7th. Unfortunately, we pick up the 2nd place, but still that's a good point advantage over my championship rival in 7th. So that is really good for us. We gain back a few more points to get the breathing space. So in the end, pretty decent race. Really enjoyed it. A few good fights, but not the most satisfying result. And we're going to see what happens next, which is Japan. But next race is Japan, which is one of my worst circuits on this game and probably the least enjoyable ones. So I guess I'm gonna see you guys there. See ya.